Got some new records to talk about here at the Vinyl Sanctuary. First up, Touch of Evil. It's a Henry Mancini score of a 1958 movie. It's an Orson Welles movie set along the Mexican border, so it's got a lot of Latin accents, some Afro-Cuban percussion, smoky Tijuana jazz interludes, and also some 50s sounding instrumental rock and roll. It's a real mixed bag and an interesting soundtrack. I think everybody should class up their act a bit and throw a soundtrack in now and then with their repertoire. I didn't really start looking at soundtrack sections until in the early 90s. My friend Alan took me to a film festival at Lincoln Center, and they were playing Bullet, and this made me a lifelong Lalo Schifrin fan. This album was done a year after he did the soundtrack to Mission Impossible, and it's a killer soundtrack. It's jazzy, it's thrilling, and I would highly recommend this, and it kicked me off to, from that point on, always looking at soundtrack sections when I go into a record store, if they have them. Jumpin' the Blues, I talked about an earlier volume I got a couple of weeks ago, volume 3. This is volume 1. This is what it sounded like right before rock and roll was invented. Chuck Berry was like days away from writing Maybelline, and this is what was happening. So this is pre-rock and roll, mid to late 40s, early 50s, swinging blues. Boy, next up, these two compilations. I got volume 1 months ago. This is volume 2 of Sensational Soul. Volume 3 of Sensational Soul. They're on vampisoul, a label started in 2001 in Spain. Whether it's Peruvian rock, Brazilian psych, boogaloo from Harlem, they really mine funky and exotic. And because they're in Spain, half the lyrics are in Spanish, half of them are in English. Spain, I think, was really taken by American soul in the 60s almost as much as England, and there was a healthy scene, and all 3 volumes are, like I said, half in Spanish, half in English. Anybody who likes soul, funk, rare groove, check these out. You can listen to the whole albums on YouTube. You can check it out on Bandcamp before buying it. It's probably going to cost you $50 if you find these. I doubt you'll ever find these in the States. You're going to have to go to Discogs and maybe order from Spain or Germany and pay $25 shipping on top of it. Well worth it. Check them out online. And finally, further in-flight entertainment. There's 2 volumes of this. This is a lounge compilation. It was put out in England in 1996 to capitalize on the whole lounge resurgence here in America. And it's got things like, well, this is volume 2. The first volume, which I've listened to online, has like The Doors' Light My Fire, done by Edmundo Ross. There's an instrumental version of Tequila that's kind of Latinized with a big brass section. The same with American Woman by the Guess Who is on this. Big brassy Latin treatment. The comps were assembled by 2 DJs, so it's got more of an upbeat, danceable flow than a lot of the lounge compilations of the time in the 90s. I'm thinking of like the Ultra Lounge series that Capitol put out, had some great stuff on it, but also some kind of slow, easy listening lounge clunkers. This avoids that, and I'm waiting for volume 1 in the mail. That's it.